So without further ado, the plant we're going to be talking about today is a Thai constellation. Hi everybody. I just wanted to come back and do a little short video for you guys about a very popular plant. This is one I've gotten a lot of questions about, and some people know a lot about them and most people don't know a whole lot about them. So I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of give you a little bit of info regarding this very popular plant. So without further ado, the plant we're going to be talking about today is a Thai constellation. It's very beautiful. Now, what makes this plant so special and highly sought after is this variegation. You get these patches of like this darker green to this lighter green, and then sometimes you'll even get some yellows depending on the plant. But it's very beautiful. It's quite striking. And the really cool thing about this plant is it's actually what we call a cultivar. And if you're not familiar with what a cultivar is, it's a lab created plant. Some other examples of cultivars that maybe you may not be aware of is like a silver dragon scale. That's a cultivar. It's not a naturally occurring plant in the wild. It's something that was created in a lab. And this particular plant was actually derived from a Monstera deliciosa. You can see that behind me right here. This you can pretty much find in any, hardware store, nursery, whatnot. Very popular plant. I love mine. They grow very fast. And so this was actually derived from a Monstera deliciosa. Now, a very common question that I get regarding this plant is what is the difference between this and a Monstera albo? Now, luckily for me, up until a couple days ago, I didn't have one, but a very good friend of mine from Washington brought me one. And so let me show you what we got here. So this is a Monstera albo. Now, if you put them next to each other, they're quite similar. You can see the similarities, but there's small differences between the two. One of the main ones being that if you look at the green part of the plant, it's a much darker, truer green versus a Thai constellation that tends to have lighter foliage. That's one of the differences. Now, this may be a little controversial, but this is again a very highly sought after plant, just like the Thai constellation. And in a lot of cases, this is actually more expensive than a Thai constellation. The reason being this variegation, and variegation meaning these like white patches, white and light green patches on this leaf. So this is actually a genetic mutation of the plant. And so it's something that could be occurring now, but may not be there later. And so I am aware of a lot of Monstera albo owners who purchased one, got a couple of variegated leaves, and then it eventually reverted back to that. And not that it's guaranteed to happen, but the likelihood is definitely there. So something to be aware of. Also, these tend to be a little bit more expensive than Thai constellations. But, I mean, come on, look at this. The beauty is pretty undeniable. It's gorgeous. This is a gorgeous plant. So that's an albo. Now, to go back to the Thai constellation. Now, the beauty about this plant, as I said, this was derived from a single lab in Thailand. Now, what makes this so special is the variegation, which is, again, the different color patches on the leaf. It's actually part of the genes of the plant. So it's not a mutation, it's built into the genes of the plant. So what that means for anybody who has a Thai constellation is as it gets older, the variegation will continue to show in the leaf. The likelihood of you losing the variegation is pretty much zero. It will never revert back to a Monstera deliciosa, and so that's one of the reassurances you get as a Thai constellation owner. They're very beautiful. And they're also not very difficult to grow. I mean, well-draining soil, water it when it's dry, don't water it when it's wet, and otherwise give it a nice sunny window. Myself, I avoid direct sunlight, and for most plants, you should avoid direct sunlight, maybe with the exception of cactuses, but I'm not a big cactus person. But generally with leaves like this, with foliage, you want to do a bright window. And personally for me, I have a super bright window that I dampen with a vinyl sheet. And the reason why is because it dampens the light so I can have it directly by the window without my plants being burned. I've gotten plants that got sunburned. They can get quite stressed. And so generally in most cases, you do not want to do direct sunlight for any kind of a plant. So that's it for my video. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments section. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and have a good rest of your day. Bye, guys.